Week 4 of the Shore Caucus UFL is in the books, and wow, the dust is still settling from this one. We're talking about massive blowouts, some really season-altering injuries, and a league that is now split right down the middle. Yeah, this week changed everything. You know, this quote from the source material just perfectly nails it, doesn't it? A cauldron of competition and chaos. Because this wasn't just about the scores. It was about entire team storylines colliding and the whole landscape of the season being completely redrawn in front of our eyes. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll dive into the aftermath of Week 4. Then, we'll zoom in on the heroes and, of course, the heartbreak. After that, we'll look at how the league is now divided, and we'll wrap it all up by previewing the massive duels coming up in Week 5. All right, let's dive right in. Time for the rapid-fire recap of all the scores that just completely shook up the league. First up, we had a rivalry that, well, it turned into an absolute rout. Jenks Vodka and OJ just dismantled Go to Bed, It's a Wrap by over 60 points. That's a huge statement victory. And really, this game was the classic tale of two stars, right? On one side, Jenks gets this masterpiece performance from Omari and Hampton. But on the other, Go to Bed suffers an absolute catastrophe, losing their superstar Tyreek Hill for the entire season. A brutal loss that just got a million times worse and totally changes their future. Okay, next up, the highest scoring game of the entire week. And wow, Team Used to Be's put on an offensive show, dropping over 163 points on a Team Naz that actually played pretty well. So how'd they do it? They were powered by this three-headed monster, Patrick Mahomes, Puka Nacua, and their brand new trade addition, George Pickens. All of them went off for over 30 points. And here's the thing, even though they lost, Team Nosh looked so good, it's fueling rumors that they might be making a huge trade for QB Drake May to get them over the top. And hey, can we get a round of applause for the Bayshore Buzzards? They did it. They are finally in the win column, getting their first victory of the season with a really solid, commanding performance. So what was the secret sauce? It was a total team effort, not just one guy carrying the whole squad. Justin Jefferson, Emeka Egbuka, and the Lions D, they all pitched in with over 20 points each. That's exactly the kind of balanced attack they've been waiting for. Then we had this absolute nail-biter, a super high-scoring game where the AI fantasy bot just keeps rolling, barely edging out Lick D's Salty Balls in what was a fantastic game. I mean, the difference maker here was just this monstrous game from running back Ashton Jaunty, almost 40 points. And for Lick D's Salty Balls, man, this is just a gut punch. Imagine scoring nearly 145 points and still walking away with the L to fall to 1-3. Ouch. And to round out the week, the Neptune Crack Killers managed to hold off the Wildwood Warthogs to stay right up there with the best teams in the league. They did it with that balanced attack, too, getting over 20 points from 4 different players. But, and this is a huge but, this win came at a massive cost. The whole victory feels overshadowed by the injury to their star quarterback, Lamar Jackson. He's now out for 2 to 3 weeks, which leaves a giant question mark hanging over a top contender. So all these wild games, they really came down to a few key players, right? So let's zoom in now on the heroes who absolutely carried their teams and the heartbreak that could derail entire seasons. I mean, where else can we even start? You have to look at this number, almost 40 points. That's the single best performance of Week 4, and it belongs to Ashton Jaunty. That's a true league-winning kind of week that basically single-handedly won the game for the AI bot. And look, he wasn't the only hero this week. Omari and Hampton was incredible. That Used to Be's trio was just on another level. But, and here's the other side of the coin, for every hero, there was some serious heartbreak. And this week, it was just brutal. Tyreek Hill, done for the season. Lamar Jackson, out for a few weeks. These two injuries don't just affect 2 teams, they reshape the entire league. So you take all that action, the crazy wins, the tough losses, those massive injuries, and what do you get? You get this, a league that is now completely and clearly divided. Let's take a look at the new power structure that's popped up. I mean, just take a look at the standings after 4 weeks. You don't even need to squint to see the split. You've got this dominant group of 4 teams at the top, all sitting at 3-1. Then you've got this little middle tier, just 2 teams at 2-2. And then, at the bottom, a struggling pack of 4 teams, all at 1-3. And this chart right here, it just paints the picture perfectly. 40% of the league are the clear leaders. Another 40% are struggling, and only that small 20% is stuck in the middle. A massive gap is forming between the haves and the have-nots. Okay, so this huge divide in the league, it sets the stage for an absolutely massive Week 5. We're not just talking about regular games here. These are defining duels that are truly going to shape the rest of the season. And you gotta start with the main event, right? This is the Battle of the Titans. Two 3-in-1 powerhouses, the AI Fantasy Bot and Team Used-to-Be's, are going head-to-head. Right now, the bot is the early favorite to win, but in a game this big, you know anything can happen. And it doesn't stop there. We've got another huge clash of powers, where a 3-in-1 leader, Jenks, takes on the 2-in-2 Wildwood Warthogs. But check this out, the Warthogs, even with the worst record, are actually favored to win. This one has major upset potential written all over it. It's a huge chance for the Warthogs to prove they belong with the top dogs. And believe me, the other games are just as critical. You've got the Buzzards, who are favored to keep that momentum going against the now Lamarless Killas. Then there's a total desperation duel between Salty Balls and Naz, where someone's season is really on the line. And finally, the injury-ravaged Go-to-Bed has to face a tough rivalry test. Every single one of these games has huge implications. So, that's the landscape. A league that's been thrown into chaos, completely split down the middle, and is staring down a week that could change it all over again. The only question left is, who's going to rise and who's going to falter next? We are about to find out.